Hey everyone, Basil here, Lawton, with the rest of TeamNoGuard.
It's Basil.
This video will be for Domino Paris 21's channel.
So first off, we just want to thank him for actually allowing us to go on his channel, because we are a small channel and we're trying to grow bigger, but we've been having a hard time. I needed a channel spotlight, so Domino, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure all the other teams appreciate it too.
Yeah. So to start off the video, we'll go through the questions he had us set up. So first off, how long have you been playing Vanguard?
So we'll start off with Basil. And if you notice, we do have Levi on the side because this is his house.
Hey guys.
So Basil, start us off. So how long have you been playing?
I've been playing since set 2. Originally started with Spike Brothers and then kind of just moved along from there.
Pretty straightforward.
I've been playing since basically the release of the first set in English. I initially started with Royal Paladins, although my original goal was to play Oracle Think Tanks after seeing them on the show, as back then they seemed the most interesting to me. So.
And I started around the same time as Q, and I started off with Kagero in a trial deck, and I've just never really looked back from it. I mean, at one point I did play when set 6 was released, I attempted to play all of the decks, but it didn't really work out.
You still attempt to play all
You
the
still
decks.
try to play like every deck.
And you try to SP out every deck too.
Which you did finish Raging Form today, bastard.
Yes, today I finished Raging Form. So 4-speed Raging Forms, 4-speed BDR.
He doesn't have the SP margins yet, but they're not out in English.
I can't get them.
Try harder.
He's a scrub.
I know, right? Anyways, second question. Why do you love Cardfight Vanguard? So this one will start with
Okay,
Adrian.
so I love Cardfight Vanguard because of the unpredictability of the game. You can be the best player in the world and lose to a complete beginner. But mind you, if you're the best player in the world and you lose, you're getting scum.
It's pretty scummy. Yeah.
It's pretty bad because you feel like you should beat them because you have more skill, but sometimes the triggers don't go in your favor, you get grade stuck, you don't get your setup, and you just lose. But that's why I like it, because it gives new hope to the game and it gives me more people to beat.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Asian. I kind of enjoy the unpredictability of the game too. I like how it's faster paced too than a lot of other card games. And I think it's just kind of a more upbeat card game, especially with like the whole inclusion of triggers as a mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it can scum you, and it does all the time, but at the same time, it's both players have access to triggers, obviously, and in that regard, it is fair, although obviously people do get scum. So yeah, it's kind of just the upbeatness of the game. Yeah.
I've just been playing TCG since Pokemon came out, and came across this one thanks to a friend, started playing it, and ever since then, it's like, the artwork's amazing, the lore, for some reason, really just pulls you in, and it's overall just a lot of fun. A lot of, like, the community around our area is actually pretty good for the most part, so definitely like that. So just overall, it's a lot of fun, good way to waste some time. The next one, which is, what are your favorite decks?
You want to start off as well?
Well, I'll have you start off.
We'll let you start this one.
For a long time, I liked Oracle Think Tank. I still kind of like Tsukuyomi, just aesthetic-wise. I think that in terms of playability, Tsukuyomi does obviously have flaws. I mean, I still like the way it plays, but given how the power creeps worked out, Tsukuyomi and a lot of other decks from that era are just, they've fallen off the radar, and it's just a lot harder to win with them, unfortunately. I think that is one negative aspect about Vanguard, but I mean, it's something you'll expect in any TCG, the power creep. Modern decks, I actually do enjoy Revengers. I find that's really fun. I find that it kind of goes back to like the original upbeat nature of the game. Drive checking or attempting to drive check in a Raging Form. Having Raging Form, all that type of play. I just kind of like how that plays. So.
And Basil?
I currently play a lot of the meta decks, but I really like a lot more of the unconventional decks. So Spike Brothers, Deadly Emperor, I really like that deck. Favorite deck, hands down, never gets really support because it really won't, which is Duke. Everyone should know that by now. Especially waiting for an English release of Bleobarris, that deck's going to get so disgusting. Musketeers, especially now that they're really starting to get actual support and everything, is really nice.
We need Mirka.
We need Mirka. We really do, and I really do hope we get it in the next promo set. And Sanctuary Guard Dragon. And now that Richard's out, I'm going to give that a little bit more playtesting. Might actually play it at our locals.
And if you don't know, Richard is he did drink clone for Royals.
So basically, ride Sanctuary Guard, pitch something useless, get Richard, Soul Blast 1, draw 1 card.
And get any card back that you just ditched.
Yeah.
You ride, get a booster. That's basically all it is.
And since Sanctuary Guard really doesn't care what your booster is because he's getting pluses anyways, it's okay to run a 6K.
Yes. And my favorite deck, which should be apparent, is always, well, not favorite deck, clan, is Kagero. ever since the deck came out, I've always liked that I can retire stuff, break the opponent's field, set up, control the game, and in some hearts you can have outbursts of high power with Dauntless, and you can just sometimes you can just steamroll.
Well, it's definitely the deck that's lasted in terms of like long-term
Through set 1 to, I mean, when it came out in set 5, you could run that set 5 all the way through set 13.
Well, and there are also cards from like the set 1 era.
Yeah, Berserk Dragon.
Berserk Dragon.
Yeah.
Gatling Claw.
Trial deck exclusive. Berserk Dragon is hands down one of the best cards ever for Kairos to be released because you force out so many. You don't force out cards.
It's also one of the few decks that like they didn't really go for a naming convention, so you'll see Bar in almost every deck list.
Yeah.
Like you can actually play the AK beat sticks and they're good.
Yeah, it's because even if you don't have a good call, you can go 2 bars and have 16. You can have Bar behind anything that's 8. I mean, 16.
Yeah, and since you can still run Conroe, it's a free search for a Bar or a Bari. You're getting field set up easy.
And obviously now I'm playing Nouvelle, and Nouvelle, admittedly the deck can have some drawbacks when they rush you, because you sometimes don't have the response, you don't have the critic, well you don't have Nouvelle in hand for the critic, you don't have the Berserk Dragons, you don't have the right cards to respond to it, but when it goes off it's pretty disgusting because you can just negate all trigger effects. When you do Nouvelle over Dauntless, Nouvelle over Dauntless is a double restanding Tom Vanguard that negates all trigger effects.
Yeah.
It's really hard to compete against that. If you don't have Cardfight guards, you're basically dead now too.
Okay, and the last one is, what will subscribers expect to see from your channel? Ignore that, that was my phone.
Yeah.
Impossible.
No, it's Power Rangers, it's 2-tone difference. Everyone always thinks it's impossible.
What about the Totally Spies?
Huh?
What about the Totally Spies?
No. Totally Spies is complete.
Okay.
Showing your age.
Let's get off our tangent.
Anyways, so subscribers can expect to see a lot of match videos.
Yeah.
We tend to film a lot of those. A lot of like 3-part games.
I think deck profiles, if we can find new
I
decks
usually
to
have
film.
deck profiles and discussions myself.
Yeah. You'll see a fair amount of box openings, especially when new sets come out.
Yeah. We will have a BT14 vlog going up in July 11th. So
Yeah, we'll have it actually a little bit early.
We could always try to film a couple of the boxes from the case.
Yeah, we could probably,
I'll bring my camera and stuff, and we'll take care of it.
so basically match videos, deck profiles, discussions, and of course more TNG talks.
Yeah, we're planning on trying to get this a little bit going a little bit more, especially now that summer's happening.
Yeah, because we're out of school, I have no more exams.
And I don't know, maybe some special content that we haven't come up with yet.
Yeah, a little bit something else.
Some unique stuff.
We're noticing our subscribers are actually going up. We'd like to thank the community for that, and depending on how much it goes, we'll probably do another sweepstakes pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay, and now the topic of discussion. So I believe we agreed we're going to do a meta discussion.
I'm pretty sure we're going to do meta.
Sure. Yeah. So top decks and top rogue decks.
So we'll start off with the Q for top decks, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think the top decks currently are pretty obvious. You obviously have Revengers that's been out since set 12. So basically that deck is composed mainly of cards from set 12 and then the trial decks. I don't believe there was anything after set 12, right?
No.
And then you obviously have Nouvelle, which just got released in English, and you still have CB. You know, honestly, like in my opinion, I find that both of those decks, as good as they are, they've lost a lot of their enjoyment factor as far as the game. No, CBD and Nouvelle. It's just not that fun to play against those decks or to play with those decks. I mean, you'll win when you play with those decks, sure, but as far as like the fun you're getting out of playing with them, I just find as though there's less of that as opposed to like Revengers, as far as like top decks are concerned.
And the rogue decks? Like Dark Horse decks, Under Horse decks?
I think that as far as rogue decks, like you'll still have stuff that's actually pretty old that can put a dent in a tournament. Like I know that stuff like Solus OTT, like as old as it is, it still has enough tech cards in it.
It can put a dent in it.
Yeah, like stuff like Silent Tom is still really, really good despite the power creep.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, I kind of agree with Q. You kind of see the top 3 being CBD, Revengers, Nouvelle. As for the rogue decks, you'll see things like, especially at our locals, you'll see people break out stuff like Nubatama, where it really disrupts your flow. Those ones are kind of annoying to play against.
Gold Paladins?
Gold Paladins. Just the power swings. It's pretty solid, especially if you're playing stuff that can actually pop your opponent's board, which is none of the top 3, so who cares? And then we had a Spike Bros player for a while actually that was making some splashes just because you swing for huge powers.
He sold his deck for it.
And then he sold it to switch to
Dayusha
Reverse.
Which you might use in a bad deck.
Stop saying fraud!
But when it's the
fraud.
cross right though, it's pretty slow, I guess.
Yeah.
Not as fast as it is with Daikaiser.
No, you want to run Daikaiser like Japanese format.
Crazy Dynamo, basically.
So basically, what Rocky plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's the other dark horse, Daikaiser.
yeah.
Because if they can get it off and you can't stop them, they win.
Yeah. And I guess, well, I'm next. So my top decks are the same as theirs. There's CBD, RFD, and Val. Those are arguably the 3 best decks in the format. You can run CBD up until set 15 when we get Glendios. RFD, you can run it past Dragular, but Dragular is better with stance and power creep when you can get the power off of the grade 2 that gets 3k when a grade 0 was called. So I forget the name, but you can use the grade 2 mana to call it for free. And then Nouvelle is
It's just really good.
It's good.
right good. It may be a grade 4, but you have Roman to compensate.
And it honestly fixes the one problem you seem to keep having, which is your enemy keeps 6 damage healing you.
That's the one thing I like about Nouvelle.
That's always me.
People can no longer 6 damage shield. I don't double crit people admittedly that much, but they can no longer 6 damage shield.
So what you gotta do is just keep double critting him on his turn, on your turn. It's just funny.
And as for rogue decks,
Pretty much anything that can put a dent in
no,
a strategy.
I feel like there are certain rogue decks that outclass others.
I mean, yeah, there definitely
Yeah,
are.
I mean, like you could enter with what Alfred beats at 2 Alfred do. That's not going to do much.
No.
I feel like
Yeah.
Tetra Drive, Leo Reverse, Luke Reverse can definitely be a contender for.
Yeah, Luke
Yeah,
Reverse
just
can still do stuff. And it's actually gonna be a lot better once we
It's
actually see, like, upright line. Because
Yeah.
I just hate that card.
So Tetra Drive, Leo Reverse can definitely put dents in decks with the break right if you just keep repeating it. And then if you have the tank boss is unlocked, you have 21 plus columns every turn and 15 from each column. Especially for the Vanguard when they're dropping 20 for 2 pass each turn, that could be really detrimental.
Yeah.
Tetra Drive just because of the break right, obviously. If you go Tetra over transfer, you miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And Loop Reverse because it's slow, it's consistent, 13 base, it doesn't lose advantage that fast. And
As long
I
as you
think-
play correctly and you can get, like, medium setup, you're fine.
yeah, there was one more.
I think when you're looking at rogue decks, though, generally stuff that was released recently that got a decent amount of support
Yeah, it-
can always be a certain amount of like a
Yeah.
threat, right? I mean, it's not going to be as good as the top meta decks, obviously, but if someone plays it and they know what they're doing, then yeah, I mean, they
Yeah, it's
can definitely make an
The
impact.
Liberators are fine because they can still just swing for high numbers with Alpha.
Yeah.
And yet people still
Before we transition to the next little part of our topic, Bushiroad, give us this card. Anyways, so then I just kind of want to transition this into meta heading into set
I got
14.
a sheet of paper from our friend Phil. They
The one from the Blast Bar profile.
and it's on a weird sheet of paper, but the question is, what's the difference between a rogue deck and a meta deck? So what sets apart a rogue deck from a meta deck?
So a meta deck, meta is basically set by
How many
X
people
amount
are
of
playing
players
it, yeah.
playing it, and it's either the
deck
top
that's-
or the most optimal deck. So a meta will be
It has the
set when
highest,
it
highest chance of
yeah, as it creates the highest chance of winning, it creates the highest, quality of play, even though it's not always the funnest play.
Well, not quality of play. That's not a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's,
I'd say just
But
consistency.
a meta deck
of
is one
play.
of it's like one of the decks that you can play in a format where you know you'll win with it.
yeah,
And I feel like a rogue deck, if you want to have a good chance at beating the meta decks, you can arguably play like 4 decks. You can play one of the 3 top decks right now, so CBD, RFD, Novell, or a deck that beats the 3.
Yeah.
And I feel like a deck that beats the 3 is a rogue deck, but it's a very, very good rogue deck.
yeah, it's a deck that's not really expected
It's not
to be
conventional.
played. Yeah, it's not conventional.
There's a surprise factor, people know how to play against it, and it'll destroy them. And even if they know how to play against it, it's still tough to play around.
No, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Okay, so meta deck's heading into set 14 as well, just because we're so close.
Yeah.
Figure we might as well touch on
2
it.
weeks away.
So we'll start this one with Agent.
I'm looking forward to Minerva's not going to be a great contender. It swarmed the Japanese meta. Gauntlet Ignition also did that. They won multiple tournaments. Gauntlet Ignition is really good. People say that Gauntlet is bad over Ignition because they can just perfect guard it, but you can perfect guard everything. That's the entire point.
Yeah, that's
Perfect guard.
that's the argument you can literally
Yeah.
use for anything now.
Oh, Minerva is bad, you can perfect guard it. Nouvelle is bad, you can perfect guard it. You can't use that argument. Perfect guarding a card is natural in the game. It's just supposed to happen. But with Gauntlet over Ignition, if they don't have a perfect guard, they are literally screwed. You're hitting for 27k 3 crit unboosted, and that is 25k 2 to pass. And then because you're going to win that turn, you can stack it and not have any repercussions from it, which is great. Minerva is good. I feel like Ashley Reverse will be a slow deck. Not many people will use it because Ashley itself is a bad break card. You just break or get 10k crit. And like
It's
Kaiser.
because she's kind of like the first. It's like,
yeah.
you really get
Kaiser's break card counter +1, 10k crit, and you can nullify shield break card for 3.
Yeah.
I feel like that's about it. Like Minerva's only going to really make an impact. What was the other one? I forget. Ignition will make an impact, and
Is that pretty much it?
I mean, I guess Dauntless Reverse is
Dauntless Reverse. Nouvelle kind of outclasses it, but I will be running Dauntless Reverse in my Nouvelle deck just because it can help do stuff.
Well, you'll test it.
I'll test it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Zenith will have a slight impact. As also Scissors.
You get a little bit of Murakumo out of this set as well with the Hyaki Vogue Reverse.
The only way that's good, we get the Unlocker, which is great. I made both the deck, but the only reason why it's good is because on the break right turn, you can have, if you lock 2, and then you call the Unlocker, unlock 1, lock 2.
That's what I mean. I can put that as a rogue deck for the next meta.
You have 31, 41, 31
Yeah.
columns, and even if you don't have that, you can just call the Hyaki Vogues and you have a 27 column that's boosted, a 21 column Vanguard, and 21 inside out. So
What I'm really looking forward to, though, is just the Musketeer support we are getting out of this. It'll be leading into set 16, where I will be building the deck, and day 1, I can basically guarantee you I will have the deck done. That is how much I want to build that deck at this point.
usually when we want to build decks, like when I wanted to build Amon Reverse, with Basil Celtic got it done in a day.
Although, I mean, for people who are getting into the game, that's actually not a smart way.
It's really not.
Generally, what you want to do in any card game is wait till at least a couple weeks after the main release.
Yeah,
and-
for the price drop.
Yeah.
If you look at Chaos Breaker, I remember when we got our case.
Yeah.
We pulled 7 Chaos Breakers.
Something like that.
Yeah, I ended up getting 5 of them, which is irrelevant. But the card started off at $40 to $45, and then within 2 weeks it had plummeted to $30.
Yeah.
And now it's hitting 25.
Yeah.
And it's not even 2 months after the set release.
Yeah, exactly.
It's some of the
And that's not because it's a bad card. It's just
The card
a
is
lot of people
good,
bought
but
into set 13.
What happens
Yeah.
is there's supply and demand, so a lot of people want the card, so there's a lot of supply for it because they all go and buy boxes, they pull it, and then the demand is that everybody just wants to get rid of it. And then some people take it, some people don't, and when everybody's trying to get rid of it and everybody has it, nobody wants it.
Well, I think it was one of the biggest problems with set 10. I think that was probably one of the worst sets for how the cards dropped in price.
Got the Buster. It started off at like what, 15, 20?
Yeah, it dropped to like 8.
No, it's a $5 thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
No, I mean like in its prime at one point it dropped to like 8.
yeah, and then Descendant started off at 35, and now it's at $10.
Yeah, like
And $8 you can get them for 8. The SP started at like 70, and now you can get them for $20.
that's the thing too. Like especially like when a new set comes out, it's gonna be so. Pick a big boss monster. So this set's gonna be Minerva. Let's put that card at $40. That's how we're gonna do this every time because that's how it kind of works. The SP will go anywhere between 80 to 100.
Yep.
And within 2 months it'll be 30, with the SP being maybe 50, 60.
The few cards that have held their value don't have held its value.
Still held
It's
It still holds
Even
its
with
value.
Nouvelle, yeah.
And we are getting a reprint in Fighters Collection.
Yeah, when
nuts.
it came out, it was at 45. You could push for 50, and then it slowly went down to 30, 35. It's stayed at 35 for a bit. After set 11, it just settled at 35, and now it's hitting 25. There's a new belt, and the reprint in Fighters Collection 2014, but it's still holding its value.
Other cards that held value for a long time were the original Perfect Cards from set
Yes.
1.
Yeah.
Those ones were valuable
There
for
was
a long
time.
time.
Bari is probably one of the most expensive Perfect cards in its prime.
When we weren't aware of the set 11 reprint, Baris, I was basically just picking them up for a cheap price and moving them for a higher price. And there's a time when somebody came into our old locals and he said, "Was you 2 for 45?" I'm like, "No, because Nova's coming out soon."
Yeah.
I'm like, "They're gonna go up to 30 each." Well, they didn't, but
No, I think the
That was a
prime
mistake.
there's
It was speculation.
25 to 27.
it was speculation. And then at the end of the day, he came back to me again and said, "Would you do 45?" I said no. And then he said, "Would you do 55?" And for 2 Baris, I'm like, "Sure." So
Profit.
basically, essentially $28 for a perfect card. For the people who are playing right now and have just started like 3 sets ago, all your perfect cards have been $15, $20. You don't remember $25, $30.
No, Link Joker Perfect Card.
Link
That-
Joker, yeah.
that-
Link Joker was the one that sat at like 2025.
Now it's at 20.
And that's because nobody expected it to get reprinted, and it probably won't.
No, and now it's at actually.
Yeah.
Well, there's a movie booster and it's at 17. They could make a new one, but I don't know.
The movie booster's gonna be weird. We have no idea what we're expecting out of it.
Okay, so I think we're kind of going on another tangent because this is kind of another video.
Yeah, it's kind of moving into the,
Like the
set
prices
14
of cards
type and everything.
That's-
Yeah.
Those are basically the meta decks.
Yeah, so those are the meta decks. Those are the top rogue decks. This has been TeamNoGuard, Basil, Q, and Agent.
It's Basil. Just remember it's Basil. But
And
and Domino, we do really appreciate this on the channel spotlight.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And everyone, later days.
And remember that SPs are sexy and words are hard.